Welcome back guys to another Rainbow Six Extraction Operator video. Today we're going to be looking at one of the operators that has a really solid loadout and a pretty good gadget in the game that I think is kind of broken and very along the lines of the similar like broken build as Zofia. Zofia is the only operator I don't have a level 10 just yet. I'll be going over a video over her in a little bit. She has definitely a very interesting build I think you guys would like. But Finka is going to be the next best thing to her. And Finka is possibly, if you play her right, she is immortal in any kind of match. And I'll be going over that in a little bit. But what I'm going to be doing, I'm just going to cover all the details on her, like her actual speed, armor, her advancements that will be including her actual ability and passive ability, and everything like the react tech and what kind of role she kind of falls into. So let's go ahead and start off with the loadout. For her primaries, she does have 4 of them. The very first one that you start off with, which is actually a really good option, it is the Spear 308 rifle, or it's a bullpup rifle here. Looks like it's straight out of like a futuristic kind of build. I'm not really sure what this gun is based off of, or if that's the actual name of the gun. I really doubt it, but it looks like a really cool looking gun here. But it does 42 damage without a suppressor. I'm running a compensator on it right now, and it'll do 25 damage with a suppressor, which is actually really decent while it's going suppressed. And you have the compensator to help out with recoil control, and the muzzle brake to help out with single shot firing, but that's essentially useless on this automatic gun. I don't really recommend using it. And now the recoil already is good, so you don't really need to run anything on there to help out recoil, even though you can if you want to. As you can see, like if I take off the grip, it's already pretty solid still. But with the compensator and the vertical grip here, you can see it's actually really tight. The little dots there that you can see on the bottom right, they're very tight together and not really spread out in a weird side-to-side or horizontal kind of recoil pattern. They're really close together, showing that there's not really a whole lot of kick between them. At least for the 4, good 2 shots in each one of them. Altogether, it's actually really good. The reflexes, it has a pretty solid amount of them. It has the reflex sight, the Russian version of the red dot sight, the Russian version of the holographic, which is brand new on here. I don't think I've ever actually seen this one before. And you have the 1.5 times scope, which I run on here all the time. That has the reflex sight on there. And you also have the higher zoom one, which is at a 2 times zoom. So if you want to make it to where it's more or less like a longer range fully automatic DMR, I mean, you can go ahead and do that if you want to, but it is slow firing, or not slow firing, it's at 700 rounds per minute. It's decent. It hits like a truck, and it also has very little to no recoil, so it's really great for new beginners and, you know, also higher tier kind of plays. It's a great choice. It has a 30 round capacity to it, and it's just overall a really good gun to go around. Your second option, or the second gun down, will be the Sas G12, or the Sas G12 shotgun. One of the better semi-automatic shotguns in the game. Holds the capacity up to 10 rounds, 11 if you count the one inside the gun, and does up to 50 damage. If you put a suppressor on, it still does 30 damage, which hits like a truck. So this is better than the semi-automatic shotgun on Ella or Zofia. So I recommend using this if you want to get the most amount of damage out of your gun. It doesn't really have anything in the way of increasing its range, so that is something to keep in mind. So it is very short range, but it does hit like a truck, and you can also open up walls, use it more for utility to blow away any kind of sprawl. So it's really good for setting up sight and just taking out enemies real up close if you're in a smaller room and you have tighter hallways coming around corners or anything. So it's really good. I recommend putting on the vertical grip for this, because even though you are shooting from the hip, it does kick up a little bit, and it'll make it to where it's a little bit harder for you to consecutively land shots despite it having a big pellet spread. You want to land as many of your shots as you possibly can with this, since it does have such a short effective range to it. But again, it does run a suppressor on there, so you can run that and have that kind of stopping power and also be quiet at the same time, so it's really up to you. And then the one gun that most people run on here is the 6P41. It does 46 damage, which is second to best from all the other guns. The shotgun is the only one that actually does more damage than this, but that's only by 4 points. And this thing does shoot out a little bit slower slower than the spear at 680 rounds, but that's only 20 rounds less. And it also has a capacity of 100 rounds in its actual belt-fed magazine there. So it's really good when it comes to taking out a bunch of them at once, and good for like hordes or anything like that. Don't really need to worry about a reloading, but if it does actually drop down to where you actually need to reload, it will take you a pretty good while for you to actually finish off that animation. So it's the typical thing with the LMG. It has a large capacity and it'll hit like a truck, but it takes you forever to reload. And during that time, a bunch of enemies can be swarming you, and you could be in a bit of a situation there. So really up to you. It's one of the good ones. I'd rather go with the spear. It's a little bit lighter, it has a faster reload to it, hits pretty hard, shoots a little bit faster, and it's a little bit more tactical kind of play. And then you also have the SMG version if you want to go with this. There's nothing great about it. It's kind of in a weird middle of the road here. It's 34 damage without a suppressor. With it, it's only 20. So it's the only SMG version that she has here. Muzzle brake, compensator, reflex sight. It has the Russian holographic, Russian red dot, and Russian reflex sight on there. Also forgot to go over like the actual scopes on here. So that's the holographic 2.5 times zoom if you want to run that on here. Or that's the Russian ACOG really, and the red dot and the 1.5 times zoom scope on there. And this one is just all around. It shoots faster than every other gun in the game, but it does have less damage to it. But mathematically in this game, that doesn't really do anything for you. It's a little bit more forgiving, but it doesn't have a hard hitting power to it. So I kind of just avoid this all around, and only goes up to 30 round magazine for capacity. So it doesn't really take up a big chunk of your screen, but that's really all it really has going for it right now. And the spear has way better recoil control and hits like a truck, and so I would rather go with that over the SMG. So there's no reason to even be using that. Your secondaries, you do have a bit of an option between the PMM. Now this gun is actually really good. It only has 8 rounds in capacity, or 9 rounds if you count the one in the gun. It has a muzzle brake on here for single action or single fire, which this gun is semi-auto. Or you have a suppressor that'll bring the damage to 36. Without it, it's 61 damage out of a handgun. This thing hits like a truck. So if you want a really hard-hitting secondary, this is it. Like, this is a little miniature hand cannon that shoots really quickly. Only has 9 shots in it to try to balance it out a little bit, but that's what you got right there. So you can run that. I was kind of just looking off of that. And then you also have the GSH 18, or Gush 18, I think a lot of people call that. Has a similar deal. You have the suppressor on there, and it brings it down to 26. That's still actually really high for damage. And you have 44 for damage in total if you take out the suppressor or run the muzzle brake on there. So that still hits really hard. I recommend using this though, because again, you want your gun to be able to be suppressed while you're running a louder primary, and it has a way higher ammo capacity at 18 while still doing a solid damage at 26 with the suppressor on. And it does have a way larger magazine capacity at 18, so you can knock out a bunch of enemies, or more enemies than you would be able to with the PMM with the suppressor on. So it's really up to you guys. If you want to go out loud with a dang hand cannon shooting fast, you can, or you can go with the GSH 18, and that's a little bit more for better stealth play. And her actual advancement, this is the Adrenal Surge. Now it says like temporarily boosts health, response, and survival. Revives any down teammates, and it prevents KO. So what this means is, as long as, or if any of you, or if your teammate goes down, you're able to activate this ability, and it gives them a boost of health, and also make it to where that they will be picked up. So you'll be automatically able to pick up your teammates from anywhere around the map at any given time, so they don't actually go down. And what's really cool about this is that you can also use it on yourself. So when you're down, as long as you have your Adrenal Surge ready to go, you can activate it and you can pick yourself up and any of your teammates. So it's really great for clutch situations when you need to get out of any kind of situation there. Her passive ability will make this whole entire build, which I'm going to be showing at the very end, even better, which is kills while down, replenishes 5 downed health. Replenishing all down health will self-revive, so even if she goes down, she doesn't have Adrenal Surge, she can just shoot a bunch of enemies around her, kill them, and it'll bump up a bunch of health to where she'll be able to pick herself up again, which is really crazy, and I'll be going over that. So one thing I'll actually show you guys here, there's the Nano Booster. So affected teammates gain more health boost. So cooldown reduced to 60 seconds. I forgot what it is by default. I think it's 90 seconds. But I'm not entirely sure. It doesn't even tell me. So I think it's about 90 seconds, but 60 seconds for the first one. And they gain more health boost. I'm not really sure how much that is by default there. Kills while down, you get that. You get the armor, increase to 3, arsenal update, all that kind of stuff from Regenerative Boost. So this is where she's starting to get really good. So Regenerative Boost. When active, teammates within 10 meters gain 3 health boost per second. So you'll slowly regenerate 3 health boosts up to a total of 30 health boosts. And going all the way down, you get a premium health boost or premium boost. So gain 4 health boosts per second up to a total of 40 health boosts. So you can increase their total amount of health if they stand around you in a certain radius, which is 10 meters. You will slowly give them up to a total of 40 health as long as they stay in that area. So here's the thing though, it doesn't really help out a whole lot because this ability is very short. After the whole adrenal boost ends, or the whole duration ends, you'll lose all of that boosted health. It goes right back down to whatever health that you had before. So it's really there just to be picking up your teammates, and for like a split second when they're about to go down, you can activate it and they'll get that little bit of boost to where they'll be able to survive that one hit. And it's very situational, so it is kind of off-putting there, or kind of lies to you in a sense. It doesn't really give you a good description. You think you'll keep the health boost, but you don't. So she works as like a very temporary version of Doc. But here's the really cool thing about this now. The react tech that you put with her. I mean, again, here she's a 4-speed, 3 armor kind of deal, so she is kind of good for running fast and be a little bit tanky, but not too bad there. For her react tech, you want to go to gear and go for a revive kit. Now, doing this with her passive ability and her actual resurge, or a surge there, this will make it to where that she would be immortal as long as you would wait for that recharge for her Finka boost again. So when you get knocked down to down but not out, say, or a DBNO, you can revive yourself one time. You can always fall to down but not out while revive kit is equipped. So as long as you keep this on you and you don't actually use the revive kit, you can always pick yourself up. Or you'll be always able to actually pick yourself up if you have the Adrenal Surge on you. Because you'll always keep going down if you have the revive kit on you, and you wait for that resurge ability to come back up, or resurge ability, and you can always keep picking yourself back up. So technically she is immortal, and if you don't have the surge ability, just use your passive one and you shoot a bunch of enemies around you. If you're being swarmed, pick yourself up again. So it is very hard for you to be completely taken out of the fight, especially if you run this, and it is absolutely amazing. So I recommend running that, and you essentially become immortal. React tech that you'd be running along with this, I don't really know what else you would want to be running. Anything that you'd really want. It's smoke grenades, like impact grenades. It's really up to you. It doesn't really matter. I kind of just go for impact grenades to be really aggressive with her, and she's really good with all that kind of stuff. So all around, I think she's an awesome operator. She is very much broken. Zofia has a very similar build. I'll be going over her after I level her up to level 10 and talking about that. So she's like a very different, but kind of has the same kind of like immortal version of her whole ability here. So all around, this is a really good operator. Great loadout and great stats for speed and armor, and her immortal ability that you can set up right. And all around, she's just broken, overpowered. She doesn't really have a specific role to really set in. I guess more for support to keep healing and picking up your teammates. So if they run revive kits as well for your teammates, you can always make it to where that they'll drop down to down but not out, and you can always keep reviving your own teammates as well. They keep going through that without using them, so you can always keep your team essentially being immortal, as long as they don't just keep running into fights and they actually have to wait for your recharge again. So that is something to keep in mind. So she's absolutely like one of the greatest support characters. The health boost is okay, but it's very temporary, and I don't really use that a whole lot. I just use it for this kind of build. So thank you guys for watching. Tell me what you guys think about the operator down in the comments, or if you ever use her, and I'll see you on the next one.